Hi guys, welcome to a special edition of the Groupchat Wrestling Podcast. This is a new series that we're doing called Indyshow Jones. Shouts to G Walker on the Discord for the name. In these special episodes, we're going to review the British independent wrestling scene. This week, specifically, it's Chapter 173, Progress in Manchester over the weekend. I'm your main host, Mike GWP on the relevant social medias. I'm going to let the boys introduce themselves.
Hey guys, it's your favourite Bandito fan. It's Danwell KC on Blue Sky and on the Groupchat Wrestling Podcast Discord. Happy to be chatting British graps exclusively for a change.
Awesome. I'm James. I have appeared on the podcast before, and I did give a fuck Ric Flair and a fuck Hulk Hogan. I still feel very strongly about fuck Hulk Hogan and fuck Ric Flair. I try to get to a few Brit indie shows where I can. I have been getting to a lot more over the past. I'm an avid Sting fan.
And yes, fuck Hulk Hogan. Every chance we get, fuck Hulk Hogan.
And fuck Ric Flair.
And fuck Ric Flair. And he needs to change his handle.
He's changed it on Blue Sky now.
He's changed it on Blue Sky. He needs to change it everywhere else. Because it's, needs to stay consistent. Laparco's a better wrestler anyway.
Yes.
True. And don't forget, boys and girls, it's not a gotcha. Right, boys, I think to start off, we'll just give our cliff notes. What a fucking show, eh? Brit Wrestling is back in a major way. Fucking fantastic. I enjoyed the show, the whole thing. It went through dead quick.
Man.
No
It was an absolute banger show, start to finish. I thought it just was like 172, which I went to in person. It felt like it was just paced really, really well. The matches were great, which we'll get into. But yeah, it's definitely feels like the magic is somewhat back from like the golden years, if you like. They just seem to be really hitting their stride, which I'm really pleased to see.
Yeah, that's it. I can only agree with what you two have already said. For me, it was my first Progress show, so I hadn't really watched much of them previously, but I still knew quite a few of the wrestlers on the card, and I don't think there was a single part of the show that I didn't enjoy. Really good experience, and crowd was buzzing.
Yeah, man, it was. It seems like this Triller stuff seems to have really worked a treat so far. With Progress, they seem to be kind of just finding a nice little groove. As we talked about before we started recording, I think there, some indie wrestling fans are gonna find a new audience with this kind of exposure on Triller. Like, you might get a few sort of people who aren't like overly familiar with the product, who don't necessarily like watch it like all the time. But that's a good thing, because I think with Progress, I tuned out for like a little while, like during like the pandemic and stuff like that, and it was only quite recently that I started to sort of take notice again, and I can feel confident in following a lot of the stories like quite straight away. A lot of the matches, a lot of the storylines, a lot of the feuds, a lot of the like the little nuances to each of the bouts and the feuds and everything like that. It just feels quite easy. So and it's quite handy because they run shows like near me quite regularly. So as we said a few weeks ago, I'm just gonna try and make as much of an effort to go to as many Progress shows as I can, because it's great.
Yeah, honestly, agree with it all.
It's been great to see.
Fully, man. Yeah, it's as you said, Brit Rest is well and truly back, and long may it continue. So should we just sort of run through each match and just sort of give our thoughts on each of them? And I think match rating seems a bit of a a bit of a, I don't know, it divides opinion. But I mean, I've added some ratings of my own, and not Nielsen ratings, because fuck that shit. But actual like match ratings. So yeah, do you want to just should we? Oh, first of all, before the matches, how good was Simon Miller as a host? Can we just talk
He was
for a
fantastic.
second? I mean, my
Honestly.
guy has just such a presence, doesn't he? He's really just engages
Yeah.
the crowd really well, and
The best bit for me was you could see how much of a good time he was having.
oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Like, you could see he was having the time of his life. And I tell you what, when he's calling wrestlers, he's got some boom to his voice.
Oh, yeah. This is one of the things I was noticing. Like his ring announcer, like I didn't think he was going to be the ring announcer. I thought he was just going to be the host, and they would have another ring announcer. But when he
Yeah,
was
same.
ring announcing all of it, I was pleasantly surprised because he's got. I mean, he's just got that sort of presence, hasn't he? Got that deep
That's
voice,
it.
that real sort of charisma. The right intonation to his voice, and every intro was superb. It was way better than what was that 172. Just thought it was much more suited to him. But as a champion and as a wrestler himself, feel like he can just tick all the boxes, can't he? Love Simon Miller.
Definitely.
He actually gives me 2013 CM Punk vibes, where
Bloody
you could
hope
put
not.
him on commentary. No, not in the way that he's just going to leave, but in the terms of he can do everything. You can put him in a match. We'll talk about it a bit later. We saw him hit a beautiful spear.
Oh yeah.
Every time he's on the mic, he's confident. You could pop him on commentary, he'll do that. You can give him a camera, and I tell you what, I bet he'll do a good job.
Yeah, man. I mean, I agree with that. Yeah, he could be a good cameraman. He could be a good production assistant. He could be a good commentator. You name it. He reminded me not aesthetically or physically. He reminded me of like what Samoa Joe was capable of when he was last in the Fed, because he could do not only wrestle, he could announce, he could cut a promo, he could just and everyone would be paying attention. Do you know what I mean?
I mean, he even looked good in a poncho.
Yeah, I think so.
That's a hard thing to
cover
do.
your old head. As a fellow baldy, I sympathise. You need something to cover your head sometimes.
Fucking beat me to it, you bastard.
He would look good in a poncho.
But should we just wrap up the Simon Miller stuff while we're here before we go into the matches?
Yeah, I mean, what did you think of the stipulation that he announced? Because it was sort of interspersed throughout the show, wasn't it? About he started saying that you can never use the belt as a weapon, and then sort of when he had the promo later in the night with then he said like it's a fan's choice. How do you feel about that?
I think it's great. I think it's a really good utilisation of who and what Simon Miller is, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
He's all about audience engagement. He always has been. So for me, like I expected it to be something like that. I thought they'd maybe put like a Twitter poll on. I didn't think they'd go for it's this match or this match. But I think they're doing it that way so they can control. They know it's going to be something that Simon's capable of, that his opponent's capable of. But it still gives the audience that sort of, we made this.
Yeah, I see where you're going with that. I was similar to you. I had this theory that he was going to go on his What Culture channel and just be, doing ups and downs as to what his next match stipulation would be, or something like that. And or if it's purely fans' choice, then whether they were just going to, throw death matches at him every week or something like that. Just those sickos of us who are out there.
Yeah,
but
like me.
Yeah. I mean, with the one that he's got this Sunday, like I haven't fully checked. Like, how are they going to sort of announce the stipulation? Is it just going to be ahead of time or like an on the night kind of deal?
I think they've done it on the show. I think it's the 4-way, isn't it?
Well, yeah, no, I know the match, but is it just a stipulation kind of? Could fans pick the stipulation or something like that, or is it just like the opponent?
My understanding for that one in particular, if you look back at the promo, and I could be wrong, is that he was gauging between a one-on-one match with G Money or the whole Fatal 4-way.
Okay, I got you. And yeah, that makes sense.
That was my interpretation. I could be wrong, but that was my interpretation of what they were trying to do.
Well, either way, I'm excited, and it could lead to a really interesting run with Simon as the Proteus champion, which is a nice bit of fresh air, I think. So.
Yeah, no, I think it's great. As I said, I think it's great utilisation of Simon, and I think it'll do good numbers in terms of engagement for progress, which is what they need right now. You know, as we've said, they're rebuilding the scene. Whatever tools they have at their disposal to increase engagement, it's only a good thing.
That's it. And I think last thing I'll say on this before we do wrap up this section was how refreshing it was to hear so many "This is progress" chants through the night.
Yeah, because there was no "This is awesome" chant, was there? It's just "This is progress." They used to do that at all the shows that I went to before. Like there was never a "This is awesome."
Yeah, I like it. It's unique to them. I noticed every time they did it, it was the same sort of spot you'd get an AE dub or an EC dub chant. After something crazy's happened, the fans will let you know.
They're a passionate lot, progress fans, aren't they?
Absolutely.
They've certainly got a diehard fan base, which I now count myself a part of. I fucking love progress. Can't wait for this Sunday as well, but we'll cover that another time, I'm sure. Before we do move on and go to the match breakdown, I just want to shout out Charlie Crothers. He announced during the interval that he's been doing some charity work for Maggie's House, which is an organisation that helps cancer patients.
Yeah.
I think that's a great cause. I just wanted to bring some awareness to that while we were doing this review. But yeah, let's get into the match by match breakdown, boys. I think match number 1 was one we were all looking forward to, I can say quite comfortably. Subculture versus Smoking Aces.
So just to start, Subculture over as fuck. Like, the second their music hit, I didn't know who it was, but I instantly knew they were a big deal. From being someone who's not gone to progress shows before, I'm like, okay, let me take an interest in these guys. And they were impressive. They were doing some really cool shit, and Smoking Aces as well. For big guys, they can move, which was really impressive to me.
Man, like, I mean, when I was listening on commentary, it made me feel very, very fucking old when they said that Mandrews has been in progress since chapter 2, which is nuts. But yeah, you're absolutely right. This match was superb. I mean, I saw the Smoking Aces in London quite recently against the Experience, and thought they were, really smooth, really kind of polished as a tag team. They were hitting like lots of cool moves. I mean, but not just them, but like Subculture as well. Like Sterling's sell of the crossbody was fucking intense. Like the way he jumped up and then Morgan hit the crossbody was unreal. It was just so slick. And the guitar slide Pele kick always gets a pop out of me from Mandrews. And like the Aces like rolled through a combo, and the Tiger Driver was fucking awesome. And like love the little tandem offense in the corner from Subculture. Again, they just gel so well together. And the Smoking Ace Crusher finisher looks really like dangerous and severe. I fucking love it. And Mike, obviously, we spoke about it, about how we think Subculture are the like the Brit Rest Motor City Machine Guns, and I can't disagree with you. Yeah, man.
Absolutely. One of my notes I've got here: Subculture wrestle like an extension of each other.
Yeah, definitely.
Genuinely, like, and it helps that they kind of look similar. But when they wrestle and when they're really going and that momentum starts, it is almost like one wrestler wrestling twice, if that makes sense. Watching them do this stuff.
Yeah, because they got a similar size, a similar move set, and when I first became aware of them, obviously Webster had the mod father gimmick, and then Mandrews was just Mandrews. Now they seem like a real well-oiled machine, if that makes sense. So yeah, no, it's a nice touch, and I fucking love it. And I'm looking forward to their match on Sunday against Sanity. looks fucking awesome.
Oh, that's going to be sick.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, you can always tell a well-oiled tag team when they have matching gear as well, which I always think is underlooked a lot in wrestling sometimes. But when you like the matching gear for me was one of the biggest parts.
Yeah,
It's
you make a good point there.
You know they're a tag team.
Yeah.
Yeah, because even the Smoking Aces, obviously they wear like different gear, but it's similar in a way, isn't it? It kind of it has slight subtleties to it, and you can tell they're a tag team just by looking at them.
Yes, that's it. And I think that's what you need with your tag teams, especially your star ones. And I think we can all agree Subculture are the star tag team.
Oh, 100%.
The thing is, they're both still like pretty young in the scheme of things, but they're also veterans as well. Like if you think about it, in the British scene, like they've been there for so long and they've made such a name for themselves. And obviously, to the US fans, most people know them from their TNA run and everything like that. But feels like they just gel so well in like the Brit rest sort of environment. Just have that vibe, that character. I think they sadly never got a chance to truly prove themselves in the Fed when they that sort of bigger platform. But that's not to say that they couldn't do it. I'm just saying that I think sadly the way it was all orchestrated was kind of worked against them because they just thrive so well in that indie show environment. But loved it.
Yeah, gosh. One thing I do want to point out that might get overlooked. Really great tag team fundamentals from both teams. I thought the way that Smoking Aces cut off the ring was fantastic. And Flash especially doing the babyface and pedal I thought was really good.
Yeah, man. Like it's such a again like an overlooked aspect of modern tag team wrestling. Just like those the basics, the fundamentals really do make the match that feel that little bit more special.
It's the stuff you always get pointed out by the old school commentators like Schiavone, JR, Michael Cole.
Yeah.
They'll point this stuff out. And when you're watching along, you'll know it because the commentator says it. But when it's that good to the point you notice it yourself at a live show, like to me, that you know they're doing everything right. Everything is so sound. And the psychology they had with the Smoking Aces as well, to me, like, I could watch those have another 3 matches, and I know each match would be entirely different. But I still enjoy each match.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, like not much more I can say on that really, apart from just how fluid it all was. I gave this initially probably I felt it was a little bit harsh because I had high expectations for the rest of the show, but I gave this one 7.5 out of 10. I'm going slightly different to Meltzer, where it's I'm not doing star ratings. I just give it a 7.5 out of 10, maybe an 8 out of 10, because it was a cracking opener. Really started the show off really, really well, which is exactly what you want from an opening match.
Yeah, I'd go a bit higher. I'd give it an 8.
Yeah.
Yeah, for me, I did rate these off Meltzer style stars, so I will sit with this, but I gave it a 3.75.
Next was Connor Mills and Miles Kamen. My initial thoughts, I'm a huge fan of Connor Mills, as Dan will attest to. I really like him. I like his look. I like everything about him, really, to be honest. I thought this match was really, really short, but sort of made up for it later in the night.
Yeah, I do feel for a short match they got a lot in.
That's very true. Yeah, it was, for a short match. I thought. I mean, I'd never seen Miles Heyman until I watched him here. He reminded me a lot of MJF in a way, like
I see that.
Yeah, his sort of swagger, his demeanor, his sort of, I guess you could say,
it was almost demeanor of Zack Sabre Jr. for me. Like he gave me that vibe.
Actually, yeah.
Like Zack Sabre Jr. if he went a different path of technical wrestling and just liked to punch people.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah. No, Connor Mills. I mean, I'm looking at my notes here. Like his low drop kick was a thing of beauty. To be honest with you,
Yeah.
he's and he gives Kyle O'Reilly and Shibata like a run for their money with those kind of kicks that he dishes out.
Literally what I was going to say. In my notes,
Yeah,
I've got
man.
British Kyle O'Reilly.
Yes, it looks like when he's doing those kicks, it actually hurts.
Yeah.
Yeah, he lays
Like,
them in, bro.
It gives, as much as I don't like to give the guy credit, it gives me Bobby Fish vibes in the only way that Bobby Fish was good.
I do one better. Bobby Fish is good. Kicked out of the GTS at 3.1.
Yeah.
Yo,
And you just
that
know
was funny.
You just know that rattled Phil's feathers. But anyway, we're not talking about him.
Yeah.
No, yeah, absolutely right. I loved the little bit banter that Cayman had with the crowd where he said, "Who sucks?" and they all shouted, "You!" I thought
Yeah.
that was fucking genius.
Yeah.
But it feels like they're putting a lot of emphasis on Cayman because he's a young, like, up and comer, and this whole match was sort of built around them kind of climbing the ranks and trying to, climb the ranks in progress and just
Yeah.
build themselves up a bit. And they seem to be putting a lot of emphasis on him, which is good to see. So I'll definitely be checking him out more wherever he ends up, for sure.
Yeah, definitely. I agree with you there, mate. I thought they were clearly putting emphasis on Miles. I thought the match did what it needed to do, especially with, as I say, what was to come later on in the night.
Yeah, no, I gave this a 7 out of 10.
Yeah, solid. So 7 out of 10. Don't want it needed to. Good put. Actually, to be honest, I'd probably give it 7.5, especially after what came later.
Mm.
Yeah, I gave it a 2.5. I did initially give it a 2, and then I went back and rewatched it, and I pissed myself laughing every time he was engaging the crowd. Just for the entertainment factor, I had to give it more.
Yeah.
Like, it felt it wouldn't have been out of place in 2008 WWE.
Yeah. In a nice way, though.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, 2008 WWE was good.
Yeah, in a way where there would be no Hornswoggle interference or appearance on the show whatsoever, which I was very grateful for. Anyway, yeah, on to the next one.
Next it was Mosh Dog versus what ended up being Sky Smithson and Sam Bailey.
And we can't forget number one nephew.
And Will Cruz in the corner. Shout Will Cruz. What a guy.
Yeah. He was my favourite part of this match, and he wasn't even in it.
Yeah. Well, it's weird because Session Moth got injured at a DDT show before London that I the Progress 172 that I went to, and they so she wasn't there for that, but we got Will Cruz and Gene Money tagging, and again you could tell how for starters Will Cruz just has like just that comedy goofy factor which you kind of want in a beefy man, you know what I mean, like that in a comedy sort of tag team.
Like
but
Otis.
first of all, like my favorite part of the match was Gene Money's entrance when he pancaked the floor. I thought that I was pissing myself laughing at that. Yeah, and then what was it? He said, "Blood's thicker than family, and we're thick as shit." Like that. I love that. Fundamentally, I thought I was glad that Session Moth's injury wasn't as bad as or serious as I once thought. So it was good to see her back, and she, again, like compared to the first two matches, I don't think the ring work was as polished as the other ones, but I think that was deliberate because it was a comedy-driven match, if you like. But that's not to say that there wasn't like good stuff in it, like the double drop kick, the 45-degree back senton moonsault spot was genius. And Sam Bailey, I'd never seen his work before. But he evidently like trained a lot of the sort of local wrestlers in that sort of neighborhood.
Yeah, so he has trained a lot of people. Fun fact, I've been chopped by him before. Really hurts.
Can imagine.
But yeah, I really enjoyed this match. So other than Session Moth, I didn't know anyone from it. So it was first time for a lot of these wrestlers for me. I think my favourite part of the match was the part where Will Cruz caught someone on the outside. He's holding them, says to the ref, "I'm not doing anything," while everyone else is punching him in the head. Well, he's not holding me. That had me in stitches. I think his timing was absolutely magnificent. I could honestly see him going on in NXT WWE. It's sort of like an Otis role. He does give me those sort of vibes where his comedic timing's brilliant. He's a good base. It was fun to see Session Moth just being Session Moth running around with a can of Corona. It's never going to get old. I think we could watch that in 10 years. Session Moth will still be funny. And the match just had, again, really good psychology between the wrestlers, between the teams. And you could tell at times even the wrestlers were enjoying what they were doing, and they couldn't hide it. The amount of times Session Moth just had a big grin on her face, and it wasn't the gimmicked grin; it was I just broke character.
Yeah. And then the finish, the commentators said it was called Ainsley Lariat. I didn't know that, and I fucking love that.
Oh, that's brilliant. That's brilliant.
Yeah, man. Such a fan of that name. Genius. No, I thought it did what it needed to do, this match. It was very fun, very enjoyable. But I'm a sucker for ring work. That's my preference. That's just my personal preference. But I didn't rate it as highly as the other two, the first two. But that's not to say that I didn't enjoy it, because all of them just gelled well together. And Sky Smithson's an absolute beast. Well, give her credit.
Shouts the experience. Big fans of the pod. I'm a big fan of Sky Smithson. I thought she was great in this match. Thought the whole thing was great. I didn't rate this match purely because I don't rate comedic matches, because I don't think it's fair. Because the ring work isn't the point. But I really enjoyed it, and I had a good time with this. And looking forward to seeing what happens next with everyone involved in this match. Before we go into the next match, I'm just going to tell you now, Dan, this will be Jay's Luke Jacobs moment, if you know what I mean. We'll let Jay start with this one.
Yeah, man.
Right, Charlie Evans versus Cara Noir. This was the first time Charlie Evans was in Manchester in 4 years. So as soon as I saw she was on the show, I messaged my mate. I went, "Can you get progress tickets?" And he goes, "Why?" And I went, "Charlie Evans." And he goes, "Okay." Now, I want to talk about the entrances for both wrestlers. Fucking brilliant. Charlie comes out in a wedding dress, and then you've got Cara coming out as the Black Swan. Brilliant presentation on both of these. My favourite thing about the match was actually from Cara Noir. And he went through the gears in this one. You can tell at the start he was like, "Yeah, I'm not going to hit you hard." And the more Charlie just started twatting him, the more he started twatting her back. And it got to the point where if it was on TEW, you'd have probably clicked Wild Brawl. Because this was what it was. It was just two people hitting the fuck out of each other with brilliant wrestling in there. You can see at the start Charlie going for a bit of desperation as she tries to do a small package, when in reality what she wanted to do was hurt him. All Cara wanted to do at that point was hurt Charlie, and it was told a brilliant story, and I cannot speak enough about the finish. That sort of roll up into the pile driver was just beautiful. Now, I did actually get a chance to see them working on that finish during the production meeting before the show. It just looks so cool. But yeah, guys, what did you have to say about this one? Because I could talk for another 20 minutes yet, but I know we don't have that time.
Yeah, we're up against the clock. But no, so I mean, I agree with you about the entrances. I thought that was one of the highlights of the show for me when obviously Charlie came out first in the wedding dress, and then Cara came out in the, with the wings, the black swan wings
Yeah.
and everything. It added a bit of like theatrical sort of brilliance to the match. I think the dynamic of the entrances, kind of made people sort of take it seriously almost, and which is kind of what you wanted, is what it and given the sort of seriousness of the work involved, that added a nice little cherry on top. But yeah, man, like with every forearm strike, every chop, every slap, just looked absolutely like fierce, and the camera crew made a conscious effort to show them actually like making like solid contact with each other, which was exactly what you needed this match to do, because it was two very two very, very good wrestlers, but obviously it's going to divide opinion amongst the community about whether women wrestle men and vice versa and so on and so forth. But I don't want to get into that sort of debate. But all I'll say is that they just absolutely complement each other in this ring, and they didn't look out of place. I thought the leg cloverleaf reversal was so good. I love how well people like execute like submission reversals. I think it's sometimes you can see in a match when someone's trying to get out of a submission, it looks a bit forced. But this one looked really smooth. The capoeira and the snapdragon and the mental like Charlie Evans clothesline and the shining wizard sequence was one of the highlights. When like the crowd started getting like really, really into it. And we had another mental submission exchange, and like as you said, Jay, that package pile driver was a thing of beauty. Yeah. I will rewatch this match again, like gladly, with total enthusiasm, because
I have twice already.
Yeah, no, it's I think I gave it a 9 out of 10 just because of how like flawless it was. It kind of flew by. Could not say enough good things about it. It was just I think it needed to go 5 more minutes in order for it to sort of get that 10, I think.
So for me, I gave it 4.5. Fantastic match from start to finish. And one good thing I would like to mention about this, so Charlie Evans was actually interviewed before this, and she was asked how she felt about it being the first singles intergender match in Progress, which understandably is a big deal. But her answer was even better, because she doesn't like the term intergender. She wants it to be two wrestlers wrestling, which is what it is. And I think everyone who's watched that match can say that was two great wrestlers wrestling.
Yeah, which is exactly what
you didn't care about the
should
gender.
Be called that. That's exactly what it should be referred to as, two great wrestlers wrestling.
Yeah, and I think with how strong she's trying to push that, I think there is a good chance that we see the phase out of the term intergender. Maybe not in the next couple of years, but I think maybe 5-6 years down the line, it'll be a lot more accepted as well.
Yeah.
So just backing off what Jay said there, I actually want to give a bit of credit to Progress themselves here for for what I interpreted. I interpreted it as a storyline almost of Progress using the term intergender. It's the first intergender match because they really pushed that. They pushed that on commentary. They pushed that on social media. And Charlie Evans being like, no, this isn't intergender wrestling. This is wrestling. And I think Progress as a company deserves some credit for their part in that.
Yeah, safe to say it is Progress, and they're literally living up to the name.
Yeah, literally.
Yeah, man. I mean, I don't think that's controversial at all. I think that's
no.
I think that's very nail on the head.
Great point.
No, it was a great match to take us into the intermission, and obviously we got the Lana Austin promo, which played into one of the matches later on. But after the intermission, we had the second Proteus Championship stipulation revealed, where it was fans' choice, and then and then we had the the charity announcement, which, as you said earlier, Mike, was really commendable for him to say, for Charlie to say. So hats off to the guy. Great cause. Big fan of
Yeah.
that. But I came in. I wasn't sure which one would open the second half of the show, but fuck me, Lycos Jim and versus two lads who I'd never seen before, Kieran Lacey and Mark True.
Oh, I love
Yeah,
these guys.
I mean, I'd seen Kid Lycos 1 years ago. I'd heard of Kid Lycos 2 because obviously Lycos 1 retired for a bit and now he's back in the scene. And they've Lycos Gym as a tag team. They really up the ante. Again, a great
Yeah.
way to get the crowd back on their feet. Quick match, very very fast paced. Didn't last a whole huge amount of time, but what my notes here say that and I agree. Was True and Lacey remind me of a little bit of the Rascals. Don't know if you found
Yeah.
that. They have that sort of very rapid, quick fire offense, like the Northern Lights and the like the headbutt German suplex combo. Was just looked sick. But I'm glad that obviously I got to see Lycos again because he's so good. The and Lycos too as well. For the first time I've seen him, he caught my eye a lot. The tandem offense they had was, I mean, I wrote it here as nuts with 5 U's. So the Gravedigger finisher I thought looked awesome, like that pump handle shoulder tackle finish. And but it didn't end up winning them the match. The Brainbuster 450 finish was the highlight for me. Just what a double team finishes. I fucking love tag team finishes. That one is one of my favorites. The Brainbuster 450 look so good. What did you guys think of it?
So for me, I was really happy with this one. Just a brief mention to Lana Austin being a traitor to her people, saying Manchester's a shithole. It's fucking not. It's beautiful. But with Lycos Jim versus True and Lacey. So this is actually the second time I'd seen True and Lacey. They were at the Rev Pro show in Sheffield, and these are two of my favourite heels on the Brit Independent scene. They are brilliant at what they do. They've got that smug sort of little shitbag aspect to them.
Yeah.
And I love how much they engage with the crowd. Lacey actually said to me, "Shut up, you fucking mug." And I thought it was fucking hilarious. And the in-ring work is brilliant. They always know where the other one is as well. If you often notice, you could see True just glance for like a half second under his shoulder, check where his partner is, and I was really impressed with them. First time seeing Lycos Jim, and fuck me. That's all I can say. They were doing some crazy shit. Kind of gave me Paul London, Brian Kendrick vibes.
Yes, very true.
And the finish was fucking nuts. Like you said, it's nuts, but 1 U isn't enough.
Yeah, you need to rewatch the finisher. You go and watch like compilation videos of the finisher happily.
Rating for me on this one, I actually gave it a 4.
Nice.
So it was a great match for what it was.
Yeah, I gave it a 7.5 out of 10 because of just how quick it was. I wanted them to go a bit longer, but it kind of to me felt like it was deliberately short because of the post match with Connor Mills and Nico Angelo like turning up and launching a beatdown. Like Nico Angelo looks a fucking beast.
Yeah,
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, he's a fucking monster kid.
Never seen him before, but luckily he's going to a show. He's at a show that I'm going to later this month. So I'm looking forward to seeing what he can do. But yeah, very interested to see how Nico and Connor Mills go as a tag team. I expect we'll get a Lycos Gym match some point in the next couple of weeks if we haven't, if it hasn't been announced already. because those two sort of big, strong dudes against the two high flyers, always a good dynamic, especially if you have the right kind of chemistry. Yeah, fantastic. But yeah, I went for 7.5 just because I think it needed to just be a little bit longer for me personally. But I'm just selfish. I love tag team wrestling. It's my favorite.
I'm the same. I think that's what drew me to this card because there was quite a lot of it. It's the same thing that AEW I really liked about them in the beginning because I love it when tag team wrestling gets the respect it deserves because I feel, especially in mainstream, but even in the independent scene, for the longest time it didn't. It was just let's throw these two singles wrestlers together.
Yeah,
and they'd often go over a well-established tag team. And I like that we're now back at that point where tag team wrestling's on top and it is getting the respect it's always deserved.
Yeah, I can't argue with anything that either of you lads have said there. The thing for me, like us, Jim, they are in the best way exactly what you need from junior heavyweights, especially a junior heavyweight tag team.
Yeah.
I thought they were great. Like us too, especially, I thought it was really good. Really stood out to me. The heels, I thought, did exactly what they needed to do. Proper little shit houses in the best way. But can still clearly work as well, which I think is integral. Again, as everyone knows, huge fan of Conor Mills, so I'm really excited to see what happens with the post-match stuff. Michelangelo looks like a monster. He looks like almost like a more Tim Bronson Reed to me. He's the man. He looks like he could be the man. Yeah, excited to see the future. I gave the match 8 out of 10.
Very good.
Yeah, I mean, I'd agree with you. I do see a lot of Becky Lynch in him.
We're keeping that in, don't you worry. Oh yeah, but yeah, the next match for me, clearly, again, this is why I like the show because it was nicely paced. I think I was questioning why this was second to last, and then when I watched it, it made sense. Natalie Sykes versus Emerson Jane. Natalie Sykes' debut. Yeah, it to me felt deliberate, like a deliberate kind of mismatch with the powerhouse that Emerson Jane is, and the sort of rather young and inexperienced like Natalie Sykes, at least in the British indie scene. I thought Jane's rope work was very, very good because that's one thing that not a lot of wrestlers have is the ability to work the ropes really, really well. And I think she stood out to me in how she worked them. So, like the rope German suplex as well, and the moonsault looked really, really good as well, which you need like a good like rope balance to do. Yeah, it was to me, maybe I read it wrong, but it felt to me like it was basically like an extended, not a squash, but like a very deliberately like one-sided affair where Jane was sort of pushed as a big deal, a monster, and Natalie Sykes got a good debut. She shone a little bit as well. So I gave it 5 out of 10. Again, not to discredit anything that they were doing or didn't derail my enjoyment of the match, but it felt like it was there to set up Jane's match with Lana at Vendetta 2. So yeah, did exactly what it needed to do. I was impressed with both of them.
Yeah. Pretty much agree with everything you said there. I think it was there to calm the crowd down as well, because there's been a lot of high-paced, intense, really good fucking matches. Every now and then, you need that. I don't like using the word, but the toilet break match. Which is kind of what it was, but not to take anything away from either of them. Emerson Jane, I thought, was really good. Now, Natalie Sykes, I actually am quite familiar with, and it is nice to see her on a bit of a bigger promotion, especially in the UK. And I thought, for what she did with the time she had and the bits of offense she had, she was able to showcase quite a bit in a very short amount of time, which I think, again, is a credit to Emerson Jane. where she was able to sell the offense yet still look dominant as fuck throughout.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely agree with that. It's yeah, but the whole toilet break match divides a bit of opinion.
Yeah,
But it's kind of, to me, you need something before the main event to, as you say
yeah,
rightly, calm the crowd down before, because if you give them intense match after intense match constantly, they're going to be burned out by the main event, which you don't want.
yeah,
And this was, so that's why I said it made sense why it was positioned where it was on the card. Um, so yeah, it did what it needed to do, but I still watched it, and all the way through, and didn't feel like it was anything that resembled what you would consider a toilet break match. Does that make sense? So like
yeah,
we had it at All Out, not All Out, sorry, Wrestle Dream, where Mark Briscoe and Chris Jericho took the semi-main event.
yeah,
And it's why we had QT Marshall versus Paul White at All Out 21, because you needed something in between the two, well, the two biggest talking points of the entire pay per view. Which,
yeah.
well, in this case, the main event was, to me, the big talking point. But yeah, you needed something just to get them ready, almost.
I think with the one with QT and Paul as well, it really helped by how long it took Paul to get to the ring, which it gave people time to have a breather. You
Yeah,
could go to the toilet if you wanted. If you come back, he'd still be climbing in.
yeah, that's very true. Yeah, Mike, what did you think of this one?
Yes, the same sort of sentiments as both of you. I thought the match did what it needed to do. It calmed the crowd before the main event, but was still good. Emerson, it was my first time seeing Emerson Jane. Both wrestlers, to be honest. I thought Emerson looked really good. My main note is the same as yours. That slide in German I thought was beautiful.
Yeah.
I'm really looking forward to the match next week. Emerson and Lana Austin.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
another thing, the post match as well also played a factor in in the crowd ready for the main event. So that's when we had the Simon Miller and Moth Club stuff, where they set up Vendetta 2 for the Fatal 4-Way, which I'm really looking forward to as well.
Yeah, be a fun match.
Yeah, but having that quick match with like a 10-minute segment, got everyone ready, and everyone was seated for the main event.
That's it. And what a fucking main event it was, eh, lads?
Well, I feel like I should always give Mike floor whenever Luke Jacobs is
Yeah.
wrestling, or whenever there's a Luke Jacobs review. So, Mike, why don't you take the floor on this one?
I mean, what can I say, boys? It's not just Luke that's going to get the shine from your boy this week. I thought all four people in this match I thought were fucking fantastic. Luke Jacobs is Luke Jacobs. You get what you get what you'd expect with Luke. Fantastic, fantastic wrestling, fantastic heel work. Same again. I noticed the same as last week or last month. They did the spot where Man Like Denise tried to take out Luke's arm on the ring post. Don't know if you
Yes.
noticed that.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
Thought that was great. Good little callback to the month before. Leon Slater, fuck me, man. Like,
It's good.
what is there to say about Leon Slater that hasn't already been said? I said in the group chat to you earlier, didn't I, Dan? I don't think
Yeah.
anyone does that jump over the ring post better than Leon. Don't think I've ever seen anyone do it better. Seen him do it a few times now. It's fucking unbelievable.
Oh, mate, honestly, yeah. He's just got this grace about how he glides through the air. It's just like, it looks so easy, and to some people, I mean, I'm not an athlete by any stretch of the imagination, but the thought of me doing that is just like laughable. But he makes it look so easy.
I was just going to say the height he got on that backdrop spot.
Yeah.
Fucking unbelievable.
Yeah, I mean, if I jump in here as well, I mean, you mentioned a callback to the previous match. Another one which I remember was, when Luke was going to go chop Derice, and he was going to he was building up, like everyone started shushing, like the crowd started getting really quiet, and it looked like he was about to unleash like this hellish chop, but instead he poked him in the eye.
Yeah.
which I thought was genius. But yeah, the another thing which hasn't been mentioned yet was the 0121 and the 0161 like
Yeah.
dichotomy with the crowd. And this leads into my sort of the main point I was going to make was obviously being in Manchester. Obviously, you've got the hometown faithful of Young Guns, but they're actually heels, and then you've got the boisterous behaviour as baby faces, like just in terms of character. So it's always
Who
going to
are
create like a
playing the
little
heels.
interesting. Yeah, but for the start they were doing the heel offense on Ethan Allen, and then they swapped. So then the Young Guns became the heels afterwards, which I thought was a very, very nice touch. It gave both
Yeah, it
it gave
actually
the crowd the chance to sort of cheer both of them for like that babyface comeback, if that makes sense.
yeah, really random. It reminded me of when Red Velvet wrestled Britt Baker in Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
And although Red Velvet was the big baby face at that point, she started wrestling as the heel, and then Britt Baker was like, "Fuck this, I'm a heel.
Yeah.
They're still gonna cheer me."
Yeah, man.
My favorite thing from this match was actually the entrances. I listen to a lot of very obscure rap, and to hear Waka Flocka Flame in wrestling entrance music was pretty wild to me. So I thought that was cool. So obviously I've seen the Young Guns wrestle a few times. I've seen Leon Slater from Impact, but I've never really seen anything a man like Darius. I went and YouTubed about 7 of his matches after the show. I was that impressed by him. There are a couple of other stats after it as well, but with him, everything he did felt crisp, if that makes sense.
Yeah, man.
And like he knew you could tell he knew where he was going 3, 4, 5 maneuvers after.
Yeah.
Which just it's awesome to see that shit, especially at this level.
Well, I mean, I think certainly it reached that point, didn't it, when like the match was like almost like a fever pitch, and you had basically them all just hitting like insane moves on each other, where it was all like false finishes and everything like that. So I hit my notes basically for the last half just have like bullet points of just various moves, like the handspring and corner drop kick from Slater, Luke Jacobs powerbomb counter on man like Darius was fucked. The Strike Fest, which went on for about a minute between Slater and Jacobs, and obviously I'm always going to pop for a Blue Thunder Bomb, which that one was sick. The Doomsday Device, didn't get a free count. Cornette's somewhere fuming. The Lariat and the 450, I put about 4 exclamation marks when I saw that, and the when boisterous behavior hit, was it the gun compartment? Nearly got the 3, but then the ref got pulled out by Ethan. And the ref
brilliant.
Yeah. Oh, mate, honestly, so important. I genuinely didn't know who was going to win, but then obviously the ref bump happened, and then the Young Guns basically beat down Darius. Like, then we had like loads of super kicks, and then the Swanton 450, which is a thing of fucking beauty from Slater. He's so fucking good. He got the pin over Jacobs to set up the match at Vendetta, which I'm so stoked. Because fuck me, like that Swanton 450. I think it's probably my favorite like top turnbuckle kind of move at the moment. It's just so, as you said, like really crisp and really smooth, and it just makes it look so effortless. He just glides through the air like he's made of like thing.
The one spot that really stood out to me, and you see this spot a lot, but it never gets old, where they'll do a throw or a slam where the young Guns did it, and then the kick to the back is still landing. And to me, like from a storytelling perspective, that tells me they don't want to win the match; they want to hurt them.
Yeah.
And again, that was just really good little nuances from everyone in that match, where the little details where you might not even notice them you first watch through.
Final thoughts on the main event. Fantastic. All 4 men are the future of British wrestling. The match next week between Jacobs and Slater is going to be fucking unbelievable. Make sure you're in the Discord with us for that live watch along. And
At 3 p.m. on Sunday, we're going to be doing like a live watch along on our Discord. If you aren't signed up to the Discord already, make sure you are, because it's where the place to be. We're going to be just chatting along, watching progress as it unfolds, which looks to be a fantastic show. And if you want to hear our sort of in the moment reactions, especially during that main event, then come along and have a giggle with us.
Yeah, last thing for me, match was 4.5 stars, but there'd probably been 5 in the Tokyo Dome.
That was 10 for me. Fucking fantastic.
Yeah, I gave it a 9.5 because it needed Kenny Omega, and that's the only reason why it was lower than 10. But I want to just add something really quickly, Mike, because you said that all 4 are the future of British wrestling, but there's one more who we haven't mentioned, and that's Michael Oku, because he definitely is as well. But yeah, all 4 of these lot are definitely.
Yeah, shout to Michael Oku. James, is there anything you want to plug before we go out?
So check out Pop Culture Sports TMW. They're on Twitter, they're on YouTube, and they also have the website popculturesports.news. Excellent interviews on there, loads of good little stories on wrestling and little deep dives into history. The other day I was reading one on giant haystacks, and it was a really good read.
Nice. That's a name I haven't heard in a while.
Yeah, they're the same for me.
Right, so that's it this week for the progress review. But before we leave you, we're going to cut to Andy, who's going to do a solo review on the Burning Heart show that he attended this weekend. But this is it from me. I'm your main host, Mike. Have a good rest of the week.
Hello, everyone. Sorry I missed the progress review, but I was selling a car, to be honest, so couldn't make it. I did watch the show. It was very good. I am sure I will agree with most of what the lads have said there, but if I don't, so be it. Is what it is. I just wanted to talk about the Burning Heart Pro Wrestling show this past Saturday at the Wolverhampton Astoria. What a night. It was fantastic. I really cannot say enough about it. My daughter came with us. I say my daughter, she's an adult, but she came with us. She's not really a wrestling fan, so I didn't really expect her to like it, but she did. She enjoyed it, and she's open to going more. So I think that says quite a lot about what the event gave, and what was on offer. So the fact that she enjoyed it is already a thumbs up. But anyway, the show had everything really. It had a great mix of pre-existing rivalries that had been built on, future storylines spread around, which is excellent for a promotion that isn't knocking out shows every week. When they're spread quite across the year, and it's very new. So to see that they're thinking of where things are going to go already is very good. And I really can't wait to see what they do next. You probably would get that from what I'm about to say. I'll get the negative out the way first. The bar was shite. They only had cans of Carlin for £3 or overpriced shots. In fact, I think cans of Carlin might have been a £5. Bottles of water were £3. Whatever. And it was very cold. But whatever. I wasn't one of the ones in the ring and hardly any clothes, so I can't really complain. I did have a coat. Tony Wright was hosting it, which was a nice addition there. He's on at the Atomic event, I think, that I'm going to in a couple of weeks. So that should be good. He's very good, very, very natural at hosting it. It's I see he said that it's another string to his bow, which is fair because he did a great job. But yeah, the first match kicked off, and I was very surprised because the Grizzled Young Veterans kicked the show off, and I thought they would have been held until later with being one of the big and worldwide names on the show due to the fact that they're currently with AEW and Ring of Honor. But no, they kicked it off against Kenny Williams and his mystery partner. Now, that had been teased for a while, and he came out and gave a little bit of a talk about who he looked at, but how he was gonna surprise us, and it was only James Drake's brother Rob. and he's a big bastard. He's an absolute fucking unit, Rob. Yeah, he's got some real size on him, and I think that he can go as well. So I can't wait to see a lot more of him. I know he does stuff with TNT and Atomic as well, so that's quite exciting for me personally, with them being quite close. But yeah, Kenny spent the whole match being Kenny, essentially just dodging, running. Botched a missed attack that was aimed for James, hit Rob. Rob went to the ground. Grizzled Young Vex pick up the win. And then afterwards we had James and Rob with a bit of a tense stare down, not knowing where it's going to go. Kenny had ran off. Rob was left to leave on his own, and a great opening match. I don't do star ratings or anything like that. I don't even do ratings, to be honest. But all I'll say is I enjoyed it, and I haven't even finished my first can at that point, so that's a good start. Match 2. Moving on, we went to the first and only women's match on the card, which was Harley Hudson against Aaliyah James. This one had quite a lot of heat going into it because of a bit of back and forth on social media, and I think the Star had even picked it up, which is always good to see wrestling in the in mainstream media, especially British wrestling. It's great, and it just adds to this feel of what I think is a boom period we're heading into at the moment. Harley's a fantastic heel, really taunting the crowd constantly, over the top as well, which was great. Really hamming it up. Aaliyah was a full-on babyface, pure athleticism. I thought she'd actually got injured at one point, but it was either great selling or maybe she did take a knock. But really entertaining match. Harley picked up the win, gave the crowd a little bit more shit as she was on her way out, and the two of them were fantastic, and I'm really looking forward to seeing them again. Then the next match was a 4-way, which was a surprise addition to the card for me because it wasn't listed, and I think they did say something about the tryouts being so good that they couldn't just pick one to add to the card, so they ended up adding 3. And it was cool because I got to see 3 guys I'd never seen or heard of, to be honest, before. Landon Riley, he was probably my favourite of the new guys. He's just very, very athletic. Only looks very young, but he's very athletic. He was doing some great high flying stuff. Great speed, high flying, and I think I would love to see a lot more of this guy. So I'm going to be keeping an eye out there. Ben Rogers looks like he could bench press a car. The guy was absolutely huge. And Joe Blazer, cowardly heel guy, trying to get Charlie to team up with him at one point, and yeah, he was actually very good. Really giving it to the crowd as well, constantly shouting things, and it was an entertaining match. Really good match overall. Great showing for the 3 guys I hadn't seen. And Charlie Sterling is an absolute monster. Finished with a moonsault, took the win, and my girlfriend says he's a favourite wrestler. I have no idea why, but whatever. Then we go on to what was my favourite match of the night. I think I will probably contradict myself in a bit, but Mark Haskins versus Leon Slater. Leon Slater is absolutely going places. I could not believe how young he was when I first seen him, and because Leon Slater is just phenomenal. This guy is unreal. I think when Tanahashi joked at the Dome a couple of weeks back, or God, it was probably longer than that ago. Anyway, when Tanahashi joked at the Dome that he was going to poach Leon Slater, I actually think he was probably being serious. But anyway, the match was great. The 2 guys really tore it up. Both were fantastic. Haskins hit an insane chair spot at one point to launch himself onto Slater after a huge run up that went all the way back to the merch aisle. Slater sold a leg injury to the point where I actually thought he was injured. Haskins picks up the win. Slater goes full on babyface and picks up the mic and says, "I can beat you," and the crowd start chanting 5 more minutes. Haskins does the old heel trick of maybe no, and then just leaves. Got some heel heat. Leon Slater got the face pops, and it was a great match. I really enjoyed that, and I'd love to. It's one of these. I love watching Simon Miller. And when he does his ups and downs, he often says, look, I would just advise you to go and watch this match. And I wish I could say that because I'm not sure where you can watch this. but I really would advise you to just watch this match because me talking about it, I'm not going into much detail. I'm trying to whiz through this just to add because because I was selling a car, and I really wish you could just watch this because I cannot get across how much I really did enjoy this. It was followed by probably the match I enjoyed least. It wasn't bad. It's just that on a high quality show like this, it was probably the least enjoyable because it was just very by the numbers. It was Kid Like Us 2 versus Joe Kessler. It was literally a David versus Goliath match. You know, Kid Like Us trying to take down the big man. A lot of his high flying, fast stuff. You know, trying to dodge him, get out of his way. Joe Kessler seemed overly slow on purpose to kind of, to almost magnify that. And it was what you'd expect. He trying to chop the tree down kind of thing. Kid Like Us 2 picks up the win. And then Kid Like Us comes out straight after that, which leads into the next match, which was Trent Seven versus Kid Like Us. And this one, the crowd absolutely ate this one up. Trent Seven is a British wrestling legend, really, isn't he? And Kid Like Us, that lad can go. He's fantastic. The match had some great comedy moments. Trent Seven showing the crowd that he can do some athletic showcase moves like flip ups and a roll into a flip. It was a great mix of that, but it had some great wrestling as well. Some brutal shots. They spilled out into the crowd for this one. Fighting on the chairs. It was a really good match. Again, another one I can't really get across how good it was because I would have to give you some play-by-play, and I didn't take any notes, so I'm just giving you more the feel. It was great to watch it. Again, there's got to be a way of watching this. I will ask Burning Heart if there's a way, and if there is, I'll update you on the podcast at some point. But I would advise if there is a way to watch it, just watch it because it was very good. You'll enjoy it, and we did. And in the main event, FSU versus Zachary Wentz and Robbie X. I'm a huge Robbie X fan, so I was really excited going into this. All four of these guys were fantastic. Robbie X had just come from Rev Pro in Coventry, actually, so he'd had two matches in the space of about 2 hours by the sounds of it. Fair play because he didn't let up in this one. He really went at it. Some insane high flying stuff from a few of the guys. Spills out into the crowd, fighting in the crowd. FSU eventually got the win after a bit of back and forth and a few near falls. The crowd absolutely went crazy. They were obviously the fan favourites and the clear faces. It was very good face and heel work. Post-match, I can't even talk. The post-match angle was very good. Went, trying to be the sportsman, redeem himself for a few of his heel tactics in the match there. Went over and shook hands, passed the belts over. Robbie X, didn't want to know. Shook his head. As Wentz told him, he said, shake their hands. And he was like, nah, just looked at him. He said something, I can't remember what he said, and then he just rolled out the ring and stormed off. Wentz walked off, looking a bit sad because Robbie X didn't do that. And yeah, FSU celebrated. Crowd loved it. Great end to the show. And I can not recommend these guys enough. As a whole, everyone on the show was fantastic. It was a fantastic show, really well put together. The venue's not bad. One guy did sit on a chair that broke, which felt sorry for the guy because must be the most embarrassing thing ever. And but no, the venue's not bad at all. Just the beer situation was shite. And afterwards, all the wrestlers, were up in the merch area, shilling the merch, but also just like chatting to people and signing stuff, and it was cool. I think it was 50 quid for a front row seat. I missed out on that, so I didn't get one. But you got a poster that included signatures of everyone, so everyone would sign this poster if you did get a front row seat. And the poster was cool as well. It wasn't just a poster; it was a really, quite a thick embossed looking thing. A couple of the other lads got them. I was on the third row. I just had 30 quid seats, and it was incredible value. You were, 3 odd hours, maybe more, was it? I can't even remember. It flew. But for 30 quid, what else are you going to get for that? It was great. I would highly recommend everybody to keep an eye on these guys and what they do next, because I will be there. And if you're there, say hello, have a pint or an overpriced kind of Carling. And that's it. I'm looking forward to what we got next. We've got TNT in a week and a half or a week and a bit. Really looking forward to that. The card looks fantastic. There's quite a few of these guys that were on the Burning Heart show actually are showing up on TNT and Atomic the week after. A midweek one, the old Wrestling at Brewery, which I'm really looking forward to. I know Rob Drake is on. I think who else is on? Tony Wright's on Atomic. I might have already said that. I think Harley Hudson may be on, but I may be wrong on that. Maybe I'm just talking shite as usual. Joe Kessler's on, and yeah, okay, yeah, like us, Jim, which is fantastic. I can't wait for that. And and Leon Slater. I'm losing the plot here. Yeah, Leon Slater's on as well. So yeah, I've got a great couple of shows coming up over the next week. And there's also a fantastic looking Progress show next weekend. So the British wrestling scene at the moment is on fire, and I'm really enjoying it. It feels like it's hitting a real boom period, and it's fantastic for everybody. The talent at the moment coming through is unreal. From you've got 17-year-old lads like Leon Cage who isn't old enough to buy a pint, but he's doing shit in the ring that you've hardly ever seen or you've ever seen over the last kind of 50 years or history of wrestling. It's incredible. These guys are breaking new ground, creating names for themselves. And I've said this before, but I'll finish with this. I always compare these kind of indie shows to when you see a good support band and you see them on later down the line and they've made it, and you're like, fuck, I wish I'd really followed these a bit more when I seen them as a support band, because they are good, and you realize just how big they've got. That's what a lot of these guys are going to be like in the future. You're going to see a lot of these guys that were on the card. You're going to see making big names for themselves, and a lot of the guys who are maybe a bit older, who have already been there or or thereabouts. So I haven't had the look. They're still phenomenal, and everybody should support these guys as much as you can. And that's it. That's enough rambling from me. So I will leave this to Dan to splice into the podcast. And yeah, thanks for listening. I hope I haven't bored you too much. If I have, drop me a message on one of the old socials there and tell me if I'm boring as fuck, or tell me if you're just glad I got rid of my old car. Nice one. Thanks. Take it easy.